You already know what it's about, guys. New Sprint Ride Option podcast starts now.
Welcome, everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners. Sprint Ride Option podcast. Oh my goodness, it's a new episode of the Sprint Ride Option podcast. I am Andrew Pasquini, joined as always by Jason Aponte. And Jason Aponte, we see the comment, and I've had a question I've wanted to ask you all day. Yeah. I've waited until this very moment to ask it. How about them Cowboys?
I want to shout out KHY001. He is the only Cowboys fan who continues to take accountability and show up. So I'm not going to clown him in any way. His comment is, sorry I couldn't have done this on your victory stream. Here I am again, having to lay down my sword and admit once again you were right. You tried to tell me, but I refused to listen. I respect the shit out of that. I really do. And you are good, my friend. You are now in the chat legend stratosphere of Don Burr and Jim Everett and Marketing Pro and even Texas Tickler. Like he's definitely in as well too, because he talked on the victory stream about the Vikings beating the Niners next year.
Yep.
So you know what? Respect. Make sure you guys respect him also, by the way, because he's the only one who showed up. Nobody else did. Shout out to you, buddy. No slanders coming your way. Good luck next season.
Kai, I want to congratulate you. We're going to hang your banner in the Sprint Ride Option Podcast Hall of Fame. It is the first banner raised by the Cowboys in the last 30 years.
Oh, see, you didn't have to do that.
I'm sorry. That was mean. I'm sorry.
That was
Kai.
mean.
I apologize. That was mean, Kai. It was too easy. It was set up. It was laid out. I apologize, Kai. Shout out to you. MG, he's not here. Notice he's not here. The joke was
I noticed MG and G Ball and whoever the hell. Like I noticed. This is what I told you guys, and this is all look. I'm good with the trash talk. I don't duck the smoke. You guys realize this is my job. So one way or another, whether the 49ers win or lose, I have to do my job. Yes. So I'm going to be here. All I ask is that you take the same sort of accountability. If the 49ers lost, it's not like I could just say, well, I'm not doing instant reaction. I'm not going to write for the job that I have. I have to do it. So I just wanted that same sort of accountability. Shout out to KHY001, the only stand-up Cowboys fan I know on the YouTubes. But, you know, people in our comments that were talking crazy, we're eliminating you. Y'all are ghosts, man, and it's disgusting. And you're only sending up these stereotypes that we had for you before this. If you want to stomp those out, take some accountability, come here, say you're sorry, because I would have done the same. In my post-game stream, I would have said, congratulations to the Dallas Cowboys. They deserve this. But you know what? I don't have to do that because what we thought was going to happen is going to happen. So, yes.
Yeah, more or less what we thought was going to happen happened. Maybe the Niners' run game wasn't as good. Really quick, just a side thing. Monday Night Raw is in Philadelphia tonight. Paul Heyman name dropped Brock Purdy. So it's
no way.
We love it. I don't know what he said.
People
on my time.
Damn it.
We'll find,
I'm going to Philly, and I might be going to Philly this weekend. I would have killed to be in Philly just for that.
I'll see if I can find the video of it. But yeah, so we are obviously here to talk about the 49ers Dallas Cowboys game that happened yesterday. The 49ers win 19-10 behind a 10-point fourth quarter. Gray Fox, thank you for the donation. And this seems to be the big question on everybody's mind this week. Hi, Jason and Andrew. I think we should also talk about how did John Lynch go from sweet to the field in less than 2 minutes. My guess is he learned instant transmission from Goku.
Well, all right. My favorite comic book character is Batman. Batman has a button that he presses on his piano and slides down to the Batcave.
Yes.
But perhaps does John Lynch still have that speed to play in the secondary just in case someone goes down? Is John Lynch just gonna, unfortunately somebody gets injured in the secondary and John Lynch says, you know what, I'll do it myself? Like, does John Lynch still got that boogie in him? Gray Fox, this has been the thing that's got my mind in a pretzel. And, people are snarkily responding to me. I don't know why. It's not like I don't ever snarkily respond to anybody. I don't understand why that's coming my way. But people are like, he used his legs and went to the elevator. No, 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 no. In 10 seconds, they showed him in the booth. 20 seconds later, this man was on the field. It's physically impossible unless you have a Batman-like shoot right to the field.
Honestly, there's probably secret tunnels that nobody knows that are in Levi Stadium to make that quick trip down from the boxes to the field possible. John Lynch probably has the secret code to get into it as well. But nice 40 speed. Like I see Axel making the joke that I've seen on Twitter: fastest 10-yard split, Brock Purdy or John Lynch. Like that's fun. Like I love these questions. These are so much better than the other side of things, right? Because it's possible. It's possible that it could have been the other way, but we're talking John Lynch's 40 time because the Niners won, having a good time with it. There's probably a tunnel and a slide that we don't know. It's probably a slide. John Lynch feels like he loves slides. He probably slid down, felt good.
Great Fox, I just want to say thank you for the generous donation. And yes, this is the thing that's on my mind the most. It's not why Zeke Elliott was under center for the final play. It's not why. It's not why.
Hey, well, since you already brought it up, I wanted to play a game. FMK, Jason, and if you don't know what it stands for, I'm going to do YouTube. Oh, you know what it is?
Love, Marry, Kill.
Love, Marry, Kill. The quarterback draw from last year, Dalton Schultz deciding he didn't want to get both feet in bounds, or whatever the hell the end of that game was last night. FMK. Take your pick.
F that catch. That was terrible. Marry the play, because that guy, whoever he is, he needs to have an extension, and I want to kill that third option right there.
Yeah, I think that's the right. I think the nonchalantly catching the ball, I think, was the most important thing to happen, because the Niners said, we're going to give 30 yards here because it's still a Hail Mary regardless. And Dalton Schultz decided, I'm going to lackadaisically make this catch to negate the Hail Mary opportunity. I'm going to go marry the last play of the game yesterday, because we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about that play at length, and I would kill the quarterback draw, because I think that's why Mike McCarthy ran the play last night, is so everybody forgot about the quarterback draw. I literally made the joke. I was watching the game with Dolphin Albert. I turned to him as the Cowboys were lining up, and I said, this would be the funniest thing ever if they just call the quarterback draw out of this. And then they somehow did something worse.
Yeah. I think it's funny that was the play that they said, we got to have it. Like, this is our got to have it. Like, how are we going to do this play? And that's what they came up with. And Hendricks makes a good point here. If Elijah Mitchell goes out of bounds, we don't get to last draft. So you know what? Elijah Mitchell, I'm not mad at you anymore, because you gave us another meme. And also, Mike McCarthy doesn't stiff arm a cameraman if that doesn't go down that way, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think the Elijah Mitchell play was very anxiety-ridden. The Niners should have won the game after that point. But for everything that happened after that, I think it was all worth it. Jan, thank you for the donation. Jan and Hensley saying BCB already almost at a ceiling with this game. I think Kyle Shanahan play call had him limited. We're going to talk about that.
I think he said it was Cone and Hensley said BCB already almost at his ceiling.
Yes, Cone and Hensley. We'll talk about that, because it's very hard to run an offense when the offensive line isn't working, especially in a Kyle Shanahan system, I would say. And
it's time to give credit to the Dallas Cowboys defense. There's a certain person that I'm here to pile on, and it's not the defense of the Cowboys. The Cowboys defense did if you would have told Dallas Cowboys fans that they were going to hold this offense to 19 points, I think they would take that all day. Yeah. And I think the answer is pretty clear as to why this game wasn't won. There's two reasons. One, Andrew pointed out, the biggest mismatch is going to be off the field, and it's one of those guys, and it was one of them. But I think we know the other answer. So, look, man, I'm not going to, go back and forth with what was said on that show. I don't know. I'm not privy to it. Brock played fine. He played better than the other guy on the other side, who has actually played for 7 years.
Yes. And before we dive into the positionals, just I found it. He brought Paul Heyman in Philadelphia, said, you're going to to Sami Zayn, he said, you're going to feel like Philadelphia Eagle fans after they get conquered by Brock Purdy. He
Let's
dropped
go,
it
Heyman.
on Monday night. We love Paul Heyman here on the
Let's go,
Right
Heyman.
After podcast. So let's dive in to the actual
take this
game
one real quick.
itself. Yes, let's go Niners. Rob Gotti, thank you very much for the donation. Let's go Niners. Keep up the great work, fellas. We appreciate you, Rob. You've been here for a while. We love you. Let's start. Niners, Cowboys. Niners win, obviously, we mentioned. Let's start with the quarterback position.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he was bad. I don't think he was good. I think Brock Purdy was just fine.
Mm-hmm.
I think and here's where I think the game differentiates. And I think this is really what costs the Dallas Cowboys if we're talking about the quarterback position as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you take away the stats, which I know you can't do, and you just went off of which quarterback looked better, I think you could make an argument that Dak looked a little bit better. But when you throw in the numbers and you see the 2 interceptions to the 0 interceptions, that is where the game was decided. That is where the game changed. 2 turnovers to 0 for Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy didn't turn the ball over. Was it his best game? Absolutely not. Was it his worst game? Probably not.
Not kind of.
It was a performance that was just enough to get it done. And Brock Purdy didn't turn the ball over, and that's all that should matter.
Yeah, and Jan, Andrew kind of looks like Sami Zayn. I don't know if it's kind of. I think it's more.
No, yeah, I do. If my hair was red.
And NorCal Dan, thank you for revealing yourself on Twitter. I appreciate you, bro. I got you back on the Twitter stuff, Jason. Yes, people never want to give credit to the other team. That D was fast as hell. Quinn was in his bag. He definitely was. But kind of back to Brock Purdy.
Yes.
When you look at a guy who is playing in how many games he is, right, is a rookie, it's hard not to walk away. I am more impressed after this game than I am any game this year. Yeah, I said it. And you know why I want to say it? That's the best defense he's faced. He's going to face the best defense that he's faced next Sunday.
Yep.
But he did what the other guy couldn't, which was play clean football, not turn the football over. Look, were there plays where you said, hey, that's a rookie? Right before the half, he held the ball a little too long. I was scared to death. I couldn't believe that he was still holding on to it. Okay, that's a rookie. He threw a ball that was bounced off of Anthony Barr into Diggs' hands, and he dropped it. But there were never any real, as Andrew likes to call it, no throws. No throws. And that's impressive. It really is. So when you look at what it's going to take to win playoff games like this, and this is what it's going to be like Sunday. Sunday is going to be a dogfight. I don't want to think about Sunday, but I am only comparing this game to that just because this is what it'll be like. Similar score. It's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be a heavyweight fight. It's going to come down to who won't turn the ball over. The 49ers turned the ball over one time, and it was because of Ray McCloud. It wasn't because of anything Brock Purdy did. As long as Brock Purdy plays in that fashion and is able to hit throws like the one that changed the game to George Kittle, it's hard to not see why people are so thrown with him. I mean, and that's just the best way to put it. I think at this point, this was a game, and I think Andrew nailed it in the preview. This was a game in which the 49ers reverted back to what they would normally do in a playoff game. Let's limit the throws. Let's beat them up with the run. And you know what? The 49ers wore them down, and they were able to run the ball. They didn't ask too much of the kid. They really didn't. And rightfully so. Again, man, I want to give Dallas's defense a ton of credit, man. They're so good. They're so fast. I am not mad at this offensive line in any way because sometimes you have to just give credit to defensive lines and Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn and Kyle Shanahan talked about it. I don't know what Dan Quinn's doing because he's changed everything. Literally, like words out of his mouth. I thought that Kyle would have an answer for it. His answer was just keep beating them up until they can't take it anymore at the end of the game and try to run it. Like, everybody wants to assume that Elijah Mitchell ran better than Christian McCaffrey. He literally averaged 3.8 yards, and Christian McCaffrey averaged 3.7 yards. It is the same thing. Like, it is literally the same thing. Like, that defense was so good for so long. So, look, give the kid credit, man. He did what was asked of him. Don't turn the ball over. Make enough throws. And this defense just turned back into that defense that we remembered from early on. Like, remember, we almost lost to the Raiders. Oh, God, this defense is in trouble. Nah, man, this defense is fine. And, you know, there's a guy who, spoiler alert, on his defense is my number one star this week that played out of his mind and continues to, and nobody ever talks. Well, not that nobody ever talks about it. It's just people kind of forget. So, yeah, I'm with it.
That defensive player is definitely at the point where he's so good, like you kind of forget how good he is when he has a game like that. Because I know who you're talking about, Jason Aponte. No secrets around here. But we go back to Purdy just really quick before we get to the run game because I was very impressed. As I said, not his best game, but I was impressed with it. What was the stat? 48% of the passing plays he had a pressure, things like that. He was under pressure all game. And you go to the Kittle play, Jason, one of the things we talked about with Trey Lance and why we were excited about him was, hey, maybe the Niners can make some off-schedule plays, things like that, because Garoppolo is very structured. And that's the example, because didn't Kittle say that he wasn't part of the route tree or whatever the terminology is? He wasn't part of the read. And Purdy's making that throw, having the confidence in his guy to make the play, even though he's not the guy who's part of the read. So things like that I definitely see from Purdy. And for some reason, I see Niner fans who don't want to see Purdy succeed. I don't want to not to go that far, but talking about the dropped interceptions. How many interceptions would Dak have had if it wasn't for drops yesterday? He would have
Dre
5.
Greenlaw sealed the game with a pick six.
Every quarterback has dropped interceptions. It's not this unique thing. Yeah, they're just called incomplete passes. They're incomplete passes, and that's all they are. So yeah, man, does he have more dropped interceptions than it feels like other quarterbacks have? Maybe, but you got to remember, he's the last. There is a reason he was the last pick in the draft, Jason. This isn't. It's not a secret. Like, it's not like he was this secret first round pick that just fell to the last pick. There's a reason. There's things that have to be worked out, obviously. Would I prefer those things to be worked out not in the playoffs? Absolutely, but the Niners are stuck in this position, and it has worked so far. Brock Purdy showed to me yesterday that he, and when I say he, I mean the Niners can win a game because quarterback wins are in a stat. Quarterback wins are in a stat.
Yep.
When things don't go perfect for the offense, the Niners can win ugly. And that is very important because about that game on Sunday that we don't really want to talk about right now, I trust the Niners to win an ugly game more than I trust the Eagles to. And that could change after a week of research and looking into it. But seeing how well the Niners kind of respond, because hand up here, when the Niners
left hand up.
When the Niners had the 7-point lead, or once McCaffrey scored the touchdown in the fourth quarter to make it 19-9 at the time, I didn't think the Niners were going to lose because I didn't trust the Cowboys were going to get to the end zone again. If the Niners can make it an ugly game in Philadelphia, and this is a Friday conversation, I might like their chances.
What I walk away with is this. During this 12-game winning streak, in which the 49ers have 2 more wins to make this a fucking Disney documentary and a Disney movie. Mm-hmm. They've won games by blowing people out. They've won games by trying to come back. They won games that were defensive struggles. Mm-hmm. I don't know what more you need to see from the 49ers at this point. And that's what you walk away more excited about. Again, this is a game that will test where you're at as a person in terms of how you view life. Mm-hmm. Oh, God, you almost lost. Well, that glass is almost empty. Oh, but this team won when things weren't going correctly and right. That glass looks half full. And for me, when you look at the quarterback and how young he is, and you look at how the defense played, give me that defense. Give me this offense that is physical. Give me this offensive line. Give me all these weapons every single day of the week, twice on Sundays. Mm-hmm. And you need to feel better about that after this game, man. I mean, that's it. Again, credit the fucking Dallas Cowboys defense, man. I don't want you guys to look, we're going to make fun of them. I've been pulling up receipts all day, and I still got more. Trust me, I'm not chilling or whatever. I'm not chilling. So it's going to go on until at least Tuesday, and then I'm going to turn the page, and I'll start focusing on Philly.
Yes.
But right now, good.
Well, I was going to say just kind of to that point you make, Jason, too, is I feel like it's a little different in the postseason. In the regular season, we would be sitting here breaking down everything Purdy did wrong, everything the Niners did wrong. But in the playoffs, it changes. The playoffs, I don't care how you look. It comes down to, did you score more points than the opponent? Because if you did, you're surviving to the next week. And that's kind of where I'm at with this win. If this was a week 6 win where they looked like trash against the Cowboys, not trash, but they didn't have their best game against the Cowboys and only won by 7, we'd be having a longer conversation about it because those are the conversations to have in what would week 7 be, October, November area. Mm-hmm. It is January. I don't care how they got there.
Mm-hmm.
The Niners scored more points than the Cowboys. The Niners are playing next Sunday. The Cowboys are not. And that's all that should matter.
Yeah. And again, the 49ers during this winning streak, because it's not typical to continue to blow out people. That's not how this league works. And especially not in the playoffs, not at the competition gets tougher.
Mm-hmm.
The 49ers are showing you that they can win every single way. Adversity gets thrown their way. Cool. We're going to find a way to get it done. It just, you walk away from this game. And again, the way that you walk away from this game has to do with your outlook on life.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain people that'll walk away from this and saying, you can't play like that against Philly. Why not? If you allow 12 points and you score 19, why not? Why not? So for me, this team has shown you every single way possible during this 12-game winning streak on how to win games. Blow you out, come back from behind, defensive struggle, whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do at this point. And this team is able to do it. That's how stacked they are. And this team is going to go into this next game. There was Charles Omenihu nicked up, fine. All of those guys are going to be fine. They're all going to play. So they're healthy again. And again, this
very healthy.
Rolling.
Their backup quarterback might be back too.
Right. The team is rolling. Everything. No, he's not. He's done. Shanahan said
Bowl. Sorry, that's Super Bowl weekend. Sorry.
Yeah, Shanahan said that's out. But this team is rolling. This team is finding ways to win games. And in this league, all that matters is not how you win the game. It's just win the game.
Yep.
And that's it, man. There's no style points. You don't get to number one after you blow out Hawaii by 65 points. No one gives a shit. Move on. 19-12, 2-0, 1-0, 3-0. Doesn't matter. Does not matter, man. That's it.
Yep. So we're going to move off of Brock Purdy and talk about maybe what I thought was the second most impressive part of the win. Because usually when we're talking about Niner wins, Jason Aponte, we're talking about how good the run game worked. The Niners didn't have much of a run game yesterday. 113 yards. Cowboys gave up 100 rushing yards, something we talked about. The 49ers 3.5 yards per attempt yesterday was their third lowest of the season. Only Atlanta and New Orleans did they run the ball worse, 1-1 in those games. The Niners' longest run of the game was 13 yards. Elijah Mitchell going out of bounds when he didn't need to at all. Probably should have been like enough to get a first down run, not a 13-yard run. Stay in bounds. Christian McCaffrey, 10 carries for 35 yards in the touchdown. Kyle Juszczyk had the highest yard per attempt yesterday.
1 for 8.
1 for 8, which was maybe the most impressive run they had.
Masterful call, man. I didn't even see the ball get handed off to him. Masterful
call. And obviously, I think the most impressive part of the win yesterday was the defense. We'll get to that. Everybody know we'll talk about the defense here in a minute. Your quarterback had an average game. Your run game had an average to, by their standards, a below average game. And the 49ers still won. And I like that to me, I think that's what jumps out the most is the lack of the run game against the Cowboys defense that we taught 129 yards per game allowed on the ground this season, 11th worst, I guess that would be the way to say it. And the Niners just didn't get much going on the ground at all. Shout out Dan Quinn. Huge, just great performance from him.
He had an amazing performance, man. That's why everybody wants him to be a head coach, man. That defense and him, they had a fucking game, man. I'm not here to mince words, man. They balled the fuck out.
Yep. Yeah, so I guess I'll kick it to you now because the run game wasn't there, but the Niners still managed to win.
Yeah, and look, early on, you try to run. Everybody's like, oh, run. Cool. But when that gets stuffed for -1 and 2 yards and they're asking you to throw the ball, you have to take what's given there. I have issues with the way Kyle Shanahan ended the half. I mean, it ended with a field goal.
Yeah.
But I have issues with the time management. And that probably ties into what people are concerned with Kyle at the end of games and things like that. Like, why did it take you 25 seconds to call a timeout? And then why did you run a play and then call a timeout right after? Like, it's almost like, damn, man, like what are you thinking right there? Like, it's almost a brain fart at that moment. Fine, it ended up in a field goal. It didn't cost anything, but I get why you guys criticize Kyle with the time management stuff. And nobody's perfect. Andy Reid had to duck those allegations for years, for 20 plus years, like until he got Patrick Mahomes. So yeah, look, in terms of running the ball and everybody wanting to see the ball get run more, the fronts weren't there for them to do it. And they tried to do something different. Dallas is good. They're fast. They're very fast. You can't try them on the edges. So if you listen to Trent Williams spoke with Steve Weiss after the game. And Steve Weiss knows ball. Steve Weiss asked Trent Williams, it seemed like you stopped trying the outsides and you started to get back onto the interior and running. And that's when the 49ers ground game opened up. On top of the fact that Dallas was gassed at the end of this one. They were gassed.
Yeah.
They were very much gassed. But Trent Williams 100% agreed. Yeah, once we made that adjustment, we realized that they were too fast. They were getting out there. This is what I'm going to hang my hat on until it's not a thing. D'Amico Ryans and Kyle Shanahan making adjustments and understanding what they're seeing. So, I mean, it's, again, I'm going to say it. It's like Kyle is like a boxer. Jab, jab, jab. Wasn't a haymaker, but he found out how to get it done. And, yeah, like everybody wants them to just run the ball. But when they're running the ball, like let's say they ran the ball 7 times in a row and it was for 1, 2, 1, and they're punting. 1, 2, 1, they're punting. Everybody's going to be like, oh, why isn't he throwing it? It's an imperfect science. And it has to do with what they're showing you and what they're giving you. And Kyle is trying to navigate that. So it's not perfect. But, again, you have to give credit to the Cowboys defense. That's it, man. They were great. They were great. DeMarcus Lawrence left this game for a few minutes, and I was happy. I was like, oh, my God, thank goodness, man. This guy is in the backfield every single time. Micah Parsons, say what you want. That man was wrecking the game early on. Dallas is good. They have a great defense, man. Shout out to Dan Quinn and shout out to that defense. It's the last compliment I'm giving them, though. I want to give one more.
Okay.
CeeDee Lamb is a fucking baller. After that, that's it. Now the slander's back on.
Now slander's back on. Jason, I got a quote for you if you want to hear it. Kyle Shanahan's kind of thought process on the end of the first half. And this was post-game. Quote, no, that's a tough thing for me to do. I know it's tough for our fans to watch, but when it's 3rd and 1, and I think there was like 50 seconds, they have 2 timeouts. I would hate to not get that first down to show you guys why I did it. That's kind of something we believe in. We don't want to give them the ball back. We liked where the score was at. We still think we have time to score, but when you get to that 3rd and 1, we had 1 timeout. They had 2. We weren't about to not get that 3rd down, punt it to them, where if they were to throw it, they still have 2 timeouts and 45 seconds. And now they're ending the half with points if they score, similar to how Seattle did at the end of the half. So, like, listen, I don't know if I necessarily agree or disagree with him on that. Yeah. That's just what he said. I personally, I see, it's one of those things, I see the logic. I understand the logic. It comes into he's playing not to lose instead of playing to win. And 100%. There's a difference. And that's kind of, and man, obviously people talk about the Falcons game. Dan Quinn's defense had to blow the lead as well, right? But like, obviously this is a thing. Shanahan clock management's never really been a friendly thing. So take the logic as you may. I don't know if I agree or disagree with it, but I see it.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? It felt like Kyle was starting to feel like, oh yeah, I've got a rookie. Oh yeah, I don't want to press this, right? And he was trying to leave no time for no kickoff, anything like that. Because Turpin could have housed like 2 kicks in this game. And I don't think he wanted to kick the ball off again.
Yeah.
So I understand that part. But still, I'm going to disagree with Coach, man. You know I love Coach, and you know that I've been praising him, and you know that I've been shitting on people who disagree with Coach. And so, only Shans. But, yeah, man, I'm going to disagree this time. You kind of outsmarted yourself on this one at the end of the half.
Let's go from the run game to the receivers. George Kittle. We love him.
Oh,
we love him. 5 receptions, 95 yards, 2 long ones, a 30-yard reception in the first half. And maybe if we talked about how the strip sack last week was the play of the game that changed the momentum, George Kittle's bobbling catch in the middle of the field, getting down and still making the catch before Trayvon Diggs was able to take his head off. I noticed this right away. George Kittle was so excited he made that play that he forgot to do Zeto Mieto.
He did it.
Did he? He must have done it really quick.
He did it real fast, he was already screaming, and he just was like.
But the biggest play of the game, because I think it was 8 plays later, the Niners scored their lone touchdown of the game. Brock Purdy, kind of the improv, and that's where take it back to Purdy just really quick. That's where I get excited. He's not afraid to improv and try and make things happen. Something I think quarterbacks need to have a little bit in them. Maybe not too much, because that's where like mistakes happen, like Brett Favre. And I know Brett Favre, comparing him to a Hall of Fame, but Brett Favre made a lot of bad throws at the end of his career. Obviously not complaining about him being a Hall of Famer. Outside of that, the receiving game didn't do a ton. 4 receptions for 45 for Samuel, 2 for 26 for both Jennings and Ayuk, and Christian McCaffrey 6 for 22. And again, it just kind of goes back to the offense wasn't working, and the Niners still won.
Yeah.
So that's my takeaway from the receiving game.
George Kittle game, that play won the game, swung the game. Everything about it was that game was a game of one play. And one team had to make a play, and it was the 49ers that did. And I want to give you examples. Turpin on that, after McCaffrey scores, Turpin has a chance to house that. If he takes it the other way and stays away from Robbie Gould or makes Robbie Gould, jukes him a little bit and moves. Shannon Sharp said today on Undisputed that when you're on kickoff coverage, you block everybody but the kicker. Yep. Because you expect your guy with the ball in his hands to be a better athlete than the kicker. Mm-hmm. And he should have housed that. That would have tied the game. So that was one play. The CeeDee Lamb long catch over Diamador Lenore, that had to be placed a little bit further out. So CeeDee would still be running right now if he caught that. 100%.
The only reason there was a pass interference is because the ball was so grossly underthrown.
Yep. And the Michael Gallup throw in which Mooney made a great play on. Gallup has a step. If he throws that to the right shoulder, it's a completion at the least. And Dallas just didn't make the play. But the 49ers did, and George Kittle did. Yep. And that felt like the moment when momentum switched and everyone kind of knew this is the 49ers game now. And that's why everybody is so bullish on the 49ers, because they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys at any time that can make a play on you that will swing momentum. So, George Kittle, good to see you, buddy. Still the best in the game. Big game. Very big game. Yeah. And at the right time. And this is why when Brandon Ayuk has 2 catches for whatever, Debo has 4 for 45, Christian McCaffrey leads in receptions, 6 for 40, something like that. But George Kittle has this game. It's like, I don't get worried that those other guys didn't pop off. You know why? The guy who did is really good too. Every single person on this team is very good. And one of them will pop off. One of them will make a play for you. That's how gifted and loaded this team is. So, George Kittle, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you, man. Good to see you. On his way to a nice little Vernon Davis maybe playoff run. Maybe. I need you with the Eagles to do it. I need it.
But just the kind of like we've talked about, and we're not the only podcast that's talked about the amount of weapons the 49ers have. And we've talked about, with McCaffrey, Ayuk, Samuel, Kittle, you could risk having 2 of them having a bad game because the other 2. This was a case where all but one of them had not a great game, right? I'm not going to say they all had bad games, but really the only weapon that showed up was George Kittle, and the 49ers still won. So like George Kittle's so important to this team. Obviously, I don't think I need to say that for people to know it. But he showed it why the juggling catch, the emotional leader he is for this team. Mm-hmm. You saw how much fun he's having too, making a fair catch on Christian McCaffrey's spike, things like that. George Kittle, all-time football guy. We love him. And he showed his importance to the 49ers offense yesterday. Let's get to the offensive line. Not great, but could have been worse. It could have been worse. 13 pressures.
I love this. I love Andrew. Andrew Pasquini. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Andrew Pasquini, the best at softening the blow, not saying things that are too out of the window. I love not great. Not great is probably the best. Nicest way.
I think it's the difference between them winning and losing, because if they lose, it's the offensive line sucked. Like, what are we even doing here? Mm-hmm. How could you make that have that performance to end your season? Like the offensive line, but they won, so it's not great. It's a not great performance. 13 pressures allowed, 12 hurries, 1 quarterback hit. Purdy was only sacked twice, which I think is kind of important here, considering how much pressure he was under all game. Only 2 sacks. We even got the patented Mike McGlinchey horrible pass rep that everybody loves the screenshot. And that one, listen, I love to defend my guy Mike McGlinchey on those. That one was rough. Anytime you are parallel to the ground, especially in a pass rush, it's not a good look. But
got hip tossed,
I believe. Was it the touchdown run or the Kittle run where they talked about him sealing? I think it was the touchdown.
run. So it was the touchdown run to McCaffrey. He blasts the linebacker and then blasts the safety to open it up. So look, I memed it. Everyone's gonna meme it, and that's a hip toss for our wrestling fans, right? Andrew Pasquini. That's what that was.
We love
Yeah,
hip
it was a hip toss.
tosses.
Okay. So everybody's gonna make a joke about that, but nobody's going to pull up the fact that Mike McGlinchey during that Christian McCaffrey run blasted Leighton Vander Esch and then blasted the safety and literally opened up the hole for Christian McCaffrey. So make your jokes, get them off. I surely did. But you're not going to sit here and go ahead and just go crazy because people were like, I can't believe we wasted this pick. Okay, well, pull up that play that literally led to a touchdown. Christian McCaffrey, Mike McGlinchey was fine.
I broke part of my spinner, so that's a bummer.
Oh, no, that's a terrible sign.
That's a bummer. But anyway, yeah. No, and that's kind of my point is we really like, and again, like this was the most memeable of Mike McGlinchey memes, but we really like to highlight his really bad rep, and then nobody on Twitter talks about the good things he does. But that getting hip tossed by Micah Parsons was not a good look. And Trent Williams only led one pressure. He was pretty solid. The interior held. I just think the biggest concern from the offensive line was the lack of run game. And I'm not going to say it's a concern because I think, again, we've complimented him quite a bit. Dan Quinn planned for it. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm concerned about, that I broke.
Oh, my God. But BGM 49.
It's not broken. It's just it works. So
don't do it. Don't touch it anymore.
As long as it spins, it's all that matters, right?
Don't touch it anymore. Okay, Will you guys get on him, please, man? We're trying to keep this winning streak going. My God.
I'll stop. But yeah, no. So listen, it wasn't the ideal performance from the offensive line, but they did enough. I mean, especially in the third quarter. In the first half, the Niners rushing game, 11 carries for 27 yards, not great. Third quarter broke out a little bit, 7 for 43, and then the fourth quarter, not great, 14 for 48. Not the best performance from the offensive line, but again, as I said, it's a winning effort, and that's really all that matters at this point.
I would agree with you wholeheartedly, especially early on in this game. But what the 49ers offensive line continues to do and what they are is be physical, and they wore down the Dallas Cowboys. Now, people can say that it has to do with the fact that they had less time to prepare. I would like to put a positive spin on it and say that the Dallas Cowboys defensive line and defense is not physically like that. They thought they were, and they hyped themselves up for a long time in this game to be like that. But eventually it wore down, and they got caught up, especially when it came to running the ball inside. So you can look at this game two ways. You can say, damn, that's a big concern, and it should be because the Eagles are the number one team in sacks. They are incredible with the defensive line. I still don't want to think about Sunday. I don't want to think about it yet. Stop it. I just want to think about this game. But I will also look at this offensive line as someone who continues to get better as the game goes on. Like, you tried to hype yourself up as your physical, Dallas. Okay, you were physical for a bit. Applaud you. But you ain't like that for 4 quarters and 60 minutes. And that's the difference between the 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys. And it was shown here.
Daywalker, thank you for the donation. Shanahan running McCaffrey up the middle too much should limit the snap count so he won't get hurt. I'm a hard disagree because this is why you limit snap counts in the regular season. This is where players need to be unlimited. Mr. Dare I say?
No, don't even fucking dare. No, don't you dare. Don't you dare.
Broncos country. Let's ride.
What are you doing?
What's the one with him in bed with Sierra? Seattle, we're coming back.
Seattle, we got to do. We got to do.
Weird because
Seahawk country. Anyways, we got to do.
We got to do. Yeah.
Hawk Nation, we got to do.
Anyways, sorry, broke it. But yeah, listen, man, it's the playoffs. Now's not the time to worry about limiting the snap counts. I think Shanahan. I do agree that they tried to run it up the middle, maybe a little too much yesterday. But I think that was kind of Shanahan floundering a little bit because the run wasn't working as well as he thought, and he was just trying to get things going. That's my thought on it. I don't know what you think on it, Jason, but I think the run game, I think the offense got a little stagnant, especially in the second quarter, or just throughout the game, because I think Shanahan was just trying to figure out things to get the ball moving.
Credit Dan Quinn and the Dallas defense.
Yes.
They played incredible. Okay, look. They played incredible. Sometimes good defense beats good offense. And, especially when you have a rookie quarterback, right? Like, I think he navigated very well. But credit Dallas's defense. I look again. Why are you making me compliment Dallas's defense over and over? Right? I don't want to compliment them. Fuck the Cowboys. They got eliminated. Get their asses out of here, man. I'm tired of this.
Help them, Cowboys.
But they played well, man. Shit, enough, man. Who cares? I don't care. Zeke is washed. Dak is overrated. Mike McCarthy assaulted a cameraman. Let's get them all out of here, man. I don't want to talk nice about the Cowboys anymore. Well, stop making me compliment the Cowboys.
Verbal meme, verbal Spider-Man meme. Mike McCarthy pointing at Randy Johnson, assaulting cameraman.
Nice. That's a Yankee meme too. I'll take it.
250 people here right now. Probably some of you are new. If you are new, subscribe to the Sprint Right Option Podcast. Hey, Jason, don't know if you saw, created a link tree today. So if you go to linktree.com/Sprint Right Option Podcast, you can find all of our links. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, YouTube channel, all that's. I sent it to you. You have it as well, Jason.
I don't.
To your heart's content, Jason Aponte. The defense.
Can't wait to wear my McNabb jersey in Philly this weekend.
Jason Aponte. The Niners defense has been very impressive all season. I don't think that's too much of a stretch to say.
Right.
I think they accomplished their biggest feat of the season yesterday. The Niners put in a built-in place to lose this game. The Cowboys start with the ball in the second half. They punt the ball. Ray McLeod fumbles. Dallas recovers.
Who did that look like?
Dallas. I don't want to talk about it.
Say it. Really say it. Look, I've been going to therapy, and the best thing is to say it. Say it out loud.
Kyle Williams, looking like Kyle Williams out there. Dallas starts with the ball at the Niners' 21-yard line. The Niners have a 3-point lead. If there was ever an excuse for this defense to break, it's this situation right here. Dallas goes 14 yards in 6 plays. The Niners force a field goal, 9-9, and then obviously the rest of the game happens. I love this defense so much, man. After Dallas led the NFL. 71% of their red zone drives finished in a touchdown this season.
Yep.
Dallas had 3 trips to the red zone yesterday. One was for a touchdown. One was for a field goal, and the other was for not something. I think they probably went for it or something. I don't remember the exact one. No, it was the interception. It was an interception.
Yep.
I once again, we've reached the territory of I don't know what else to say about this Niners defense that we haven't said. But yesterday was easily their best performance of the season when they needed it because it was a game. The Niners didn't score 30 points yesterday.
No.
They needed every ounce of what the defense gave them, and they held the 4th best scoring offense to 12 points. They held an offense that was one of the better ones in the league to, I have it written down, I probably should have the 4.7 yards per play. The Cowboys only had 3 games this season that was worse than their yards per game last night. Listen, man, DeMeco Ryans, he's going to be a head coach.
Wait. Oh, man, let me please go. Keep going.
DeMeco Ryans is going to be a head coach. Might as well just top it off with a ring before you go out there and be a head coach somewhere. Jason Aponte, go ahead.
Oh, my God. DeMeco Ryans was going to interview earlier before the game. If he took a fucking nap and a dump before the game, it would be the same exact thing. Who cares? The man was locked in. His defense was incredible, man. And, again, this is something that we had not seen for a few weeks, so people have gotten a little skeptical about, right? Oh, where's his defense from earlier in the year? Well, you know what? You get it in big moments, man. I'm just tired of people asking me about DeMeco Ryans having interviews before the game as if every single defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator or whatever has not done this for years and years and years. Oh, what is he doing having interviews before the game? The game plan set. All he got to do is sleep. He could have taken a nap, a dump, and ate a sandwich in the same time, and it wouldn't have mattered. He wouldn't have been talking about the game in either way. My thing is, the defense finally showed up to the point that everybody has saw early on in the season, man. And look, hi, Mooney Ward. Isn't it funny how 1 week was just 1 week for Mooney Ward? Hi, Diamador Lenore. Nice interception, buddy. That's 2 in a row. Keep trying, my guy. Hi, Hufanga. Hi, Gibson. You know, they both created pressures. Jimmy Ward was great. I'm gonna save obviously, my star for the game. It's pretty easy to figure out who that is, but getting 13 pressures with this defensive line and finding different ways to get it, it's just again, man. What else can you say? When the 49ers defense plays like that, that's when you start to have no doubts in your mind that they can beat anybody. Anybody. And Dak wasn't escaping the pocket. I think he only had one run that was like really like bad. And again, Dak wants to win from the pocket. He's not exactly mobile. None of that stuff. So for me, good to see you. If that continues, if these trends continue, the 49ers are in great shape to win games and finish it.
Jason, we'll start with the defensive line as a whole. 13 pressures, 18 pressures. Nick Bosa has 5. I just want to continue that this is my running joke I like to make. I'm not a big believer in quarterback wins. I am a big believer in defensive tackle wins. And since that one trade that everybody was really grumpy about, Eric Armstead has 5 playoff wins as a defensive tackle. DeForest Buckner has 0. That's my stat I keep going back to. Eric Armstead 5 pressures yesterday. Could have had a sack. Kind of got caught in between on a pump fake that could have ended the game.
Andrew Pasquini.
Yes.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
How many playoff sacks or pressures does DeForest Buckner have as an Indianapolis Colt?
Oh, that would actually be 0 as well.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
I was told back in 2019 that the Niners defense was done for because they traded a defensive tackle for the 14th pick. And who the hell offers a first-round pick for a defensive tackle not named Aaron Donald? The Niners would have been asinine not to take that.
Cook.
But man, we want to freak out because they had to pay Eric Armstead, who's been a top 5 defensive tackle in the NFL when he's on the field. Oh my God.
Andrew Pasquini, I have another question.
Yes.
I was told the 49ers season would fall apart because they traded an undrafted free agent to Miami, and they needed that depth as well too. How's Jeff Wilson doing, buddy? And how is the Miami Dolphins? When does Miami play?
$69,000 richer.
Good for him.
Man, I wish I could.
The 49ers are a draft pick richer. And I was told that this was the end of the world. You can't trade an undrafted free agent for a pick. Nobody gives a fuck, man. Like, are you kidding me? That was good business. You do it 10 out of 10. I'm sorry, but let's talk about the defensive line. Eric Armstead's a baller.
Yes.
And it's time for you guys to start, like, understanding that his impact goes past the stat sheet. I don't want to hear it anymore. Watch the games. Watch the damn games. Yeah. Like, if he's taking 2 guys and someone else makes a tackle, he doesn't get a tackle, he doesn't get a pressure. But Eric Armstead's a baller, man. It's good to see him there, man. It's just pretty funny to me that, DeForest Buckner still hasn't played in a playoff game since he's been traded, and the defense is supposed to just fall apart.
Yeah, and we usually talk about Eric Armstead about how his value is never really reflected in the box score, just because like he plays a position that's not a box score heavy position. 5 pressures, 4 hurries, 1 hit. He's been something else. The Niners need him. I not to make this all about Eric Armstead, because Samson Ebukam had a sack yesterday. The Niners pass rush.
I want to talk to Samson. Sorry, that's a half-baked reference. Come on, have you not seen half-baked?
Yes, I know what half-baked.
Okay, good.
I haven't seen it enough to like know the references, but I've seen it.
Flower to the moon like that bitch out of Scrapped because it's hard being like a gift. Oh, sorry.
Nick Bosa 5 pressures as well. After I wasn't too worried about him because nobody was worried about him after a 0 pressure game last week. 5 this week. Talanoa Hufanga with a pressure as well. Should have been a sack. Neither here nor there. He's very good around the offensive line. We've talked about that, Jason Aponte. So just a really good game from the pass rush and the defensive line as a whole. The game obviously changed a little bit. The Cowboys changed when Tony Pollard goes down. But 22 carries for 76 yards. That's all defensive line. That's all defensive line. So just want to shout out the defensive line for that performance.
Simpson, I stick to my story. I'm sorry, that's how it be. Right near the beach. Hoy! All right. Doctor says I need a bacchiotomy. Hey, keep the half-baked references coming. Where in Jamaica do you live? Right near the beach. Hoy! All right, sorry. We're just having fun. We're vibing. We eliminated the Cowboys. We're doing half-baked references. No, look, this is the defense that you thought that you would see the entire year.
Mhm.
It didn't show up, during the season, like at the end of the season, like you would have, but like you wanted to. But at this
Mhm.
point, man, again, in a game where points were a premium,
Yep.
um, it just they did their thing, man. I don't know what more needs to be said, man. I think at this point, like they wiped off points on the board. There's an interception on their side of the field that gave them 3 points. There's an interception in the red zone, and that Fred gets that Jimmy Ward should have gotten.
Mhm.
That wipes off points for them as well too. Just again, this is a defense that we've seen that is not conducive to what we've seen for years before. They take the ball away. And the 49ers are 15-0 when they win a turnover battle. That's not a coincidence. That is not a coincidence. So turn the ball over. You're going to be put in advantageous situations. I mean, I don't even want to talk about the guy that I want to talk about when we get to the stars yet, because he was fucking incredible. But yeah, man.
Let's talk about the linebackers, and maybe we
Go
can
for
talk
it.
about that guy just a little bit.
Yep.
Listen. Listen. I don't know how many interior linebackers in the NFL today can start a play. Watch this. You ready? You ready for this lingo?
Go for it.
In the A gap, Jason Aponte. I don't know how many people can do this.
Here we go. So we're talking about my guy then.
And
or our guy. It's the people's guy.
And drop back into coverage. On not like Joe Schmo or what was the show called? Pros versus Joe. It's not one of those guys.
Yep.
CeeDee Lamb. I don't know if you've heard of him, Jason Aponte. CeeDee Lamb,
very good player.
Receiver, pretty good receiver in the NFL.
Very good player.
Run step for step with him. And do enough to get in between him. It counts as a pass block. I haven't seen an angle that had him get his hand on it or anything, but have enough speed to get from the A gap in the offensive line 30 yards down the field to get in between the ball and the receiver. That, outside of the Kittle play, might have been the second most important play of the game. Fred Warner, I mean, where do you want to start? Team high 9 tackles, a pass deflection, a tackle for loss, an interception. What I thought was the most impressive, Jason Aponte, targeted. We talk about how PFF is very mean to linebackers because it just seems like linebackers get lost in the shuffle. 4 targets, 2 receptions, 15 yards. What can't Fred Warner do at this point? He is the best off-ball linebacker in the NFL. He might be the best linebacker, full stop, in the NFL. Because he had tackle for loss on the first drive of the game. You knew from that point on, Fred Warner was going to be good, and he did it. And really, like, no disrespect to Dre Greenlaw or Azeez Al-Shaair, the linebacker conversation for the game yesterday begins and ends with Fred Warner. And then that's all it is.
I'm sorry. I'm not laughing because, the 49ers are spoiled with linebacker play like no other franchise has ever been. I'm laughing at Abracadabra B and all the great have-baked quotes. Like, if this is what we're going to do for this whole episode, I am so happy. This makes me happy. But yeah, spoiler alert, Fred Warner is my number 1 star. I don't understand how, as Andrew said, he is asked, and this wasn't just today, he is asked to carry receivers up the seam as a linebacker. And I think Andrew highlighted something really important. In front of the A-gap, falls back. CeeDee Lamb certainly can outrun him, and CeeDee Lamb should outrun a linebacker.
And he didn't.
But Dak Prescott didn't put it where it was supposed to be, and Fred is in perfect position, man. Like, we're so spoiled that we almost forget that Fred is playing this well. We almost forget that Fred is doing these things because we kind of set our watch to it. When Fred makes a mistake, we start to look around like, what the hell was that? Because you never see anything like that. Fred Warner is the best in the game, all-pro Fred, all of those things. This week, in particular, he's the heartbeat of this team. He's the heartbeat of this entire defense. He's the heartbeat of this franchise right now at this point. Nobody smarter, nobody better, nobody more prepared than Fred Warner, man. Fred Warner's my number one star before we even get to 3 stars, man. It's my number one star. And I'll go over it again when we do 3 stars. I don't care. I'll talk about Fred Warner all day. He's the fucking man. And it's just who else can you ask? What can happen? Now look, let's talk about the defensive, linebackers. Dre Greenlaw had a bad game this week. He had a bad game.
Another very aggressive penalty.
Yeah, forget the dropped interception. The penalty's bad. The missed tackles. He had 4 tackle attempts. He missed 2 of them. Bad game this week. Bad game. But he's been great all year. Bad game this week, though. He knows it. He knows it. Bad game this week. He could have sealed this game with that interception. But whatever. The 49ers win, so it doesn't matter. Nobody's going to remember that. But the penalty is what I'm more concerned about because that was something that he cleaned up from earlier in the year. Go for it.
I have a question, actually.
Yeah.
The third linebacker. How the hell does Azeez Al-Shaair not get a pressure on the last play? Finishing 0 pressures. Yeah. How is that not a pressure?
And you know what's funny is, when you look at snaps and you look how they were divvied up, Azeez Al-Shaair only has 20-something snaps, 23 or something like that to that effect. But that shows you the personnel that Dallas was coming out in. So it was first down, basically they were in base. And then after that, second and third down, they were just a nickel. Like Jimmy was out there way more. And Azeez is the guy who comes off the field. It's Fred and Greenlaw, and then you get Jimmy in as nickel. So that shows you what Dallas was doing and what the defense was trying to do. So, but yeah, look, Dre Greenlaw didn't have his best game. I'm sure he will tell you that himself. At the same time, I'm just blown away that we get to watch Fred Warner week after week, and other teams have to worry about what they're going to get from their linebacker core, and it's just Fred Warner continues to come up big in the biggest moments. That was the best Fred Warner game I've ever seen since the divisional round last year against the Green Bay Packers. Mm-hmm. Same thing. Fred Warner caused the biggest play in that game to happen in that divisional game in Green Bay by causing that fumble on Mercedes Lewis when Green Bay was driving. And it seemed like the 49ers had no answer for what Green Bay was doing. I don't know what else needs to be said, man. I'm so glad that I have a Fred Warner jersey. He's going to be here forever, but he's incredible, man. He's so fucking good at football, man. That's it, man. Like, I don't even know what else to say. And hold up, we got a donation.
Alberto, thank you very much. You see the Niners beat Dallas on that. I'm assuming that's another half-baked round.
Half-baked on weed, man. It's crazy, man. It's a guy in the bushes, man. Red team go, my bad.
But man, to watch the growth of Fred Warner from number 48 and Fred Wanwer all the way to the 150 tackle guy in his rookie year, seeing him develop pass rushing abilities and then develop coverage abilities. Remember when he was a rookie, he was just a pure tackle guy. But it really feels like he's taken steps in each season to kind of improve something different. Spoiler, he's my number 1 star. So Jason, we get to do the 3-2-1 like hold hands thing together.
Third one.
Exciting. Cool. So let's dive into the secondary. I mean, I wasn't concerned at all about the secondary yesterday. Diamador Lenore allowed the most yards on 7 targets, 69 yards. Nice. 3 receptions. The big one was 46. So if you take away the big one, 2 receptions for 23 yards, not too bad. Jimmy Ward, 7 receptions allowed, only 44 yards, so not giving up much. Just a very good coverage game. Travis Ward was only targeted 3 times, allowed a reception. The secondary, after the weird blip between the Commanders game and the Raiders game, it really feels like they've come back to their own. And it wasn't necessarily doubting Diamador Lenore. It was more, we saw the struggles against Washington. We saw the struggles against Las Vegas. And it really turned into if there's a weak link in this secondary, it's going to be Diamador Lenore. And that's where the concern came in. In the past 2 weeks, he's really returned to his play that we saw in the first 10 or so weeks of the season. He was really good yesterday. I just thought it was an all-around good game from the secondary, Jason Aponte.
And how many yards on Diamador Lenore are attributed to that one incredible CeeDee Lamb catch?
46. That was the log. So 46 of his 69 yards were on one.
There you go. I mean, 69 is a nice amount. But when you think about 49 of them coming on one plate, And it was a play where, look, Lenore would say that he was beat, fine, but CeeDee Lamb's really fucking good at football. CeeDee Lamb is a top 10 wide receiver in this league.
Mm-hmm.
I wish the 49ers could have, another weapon like CeeDee Lamb. That'd be awesome. He's really good. Diamond Lenore is great. So was Ward. So was Gibson. So was Hufanga. This whole defense was great.
Mm-hmm.
They were great in this game. So for me to look at, this is the give and take again, Andrew Pasquini.
Yes.
Yards, big interception.
Mm-hmm.
One big play, one big interception. That one play led to 0 points.
Mm-hmm.
His one big play led to 3 at least. And credit Dallas' defense. Again, they didn't give up. Like right there in that spot, it almost feels like the 49ers are destined to score a touchdown there.
Mm-hmm. And
they didn't. Diamond Lenore is playing much better right now than he has at any point in the season. 2 interceptions in a row. He's playing more confident. And this, again, goes to speak to what I was talking about last week. Can you dig yourself out of a hole? How much does one play change the way that you're confident? How much does one play into how you're moving in terms of half steps and understanding what's in front of you?
Yep.
I love it, man. I love it. If Diamond Lenore can step up, it is such a weapon because Mooney is Mooney. One game is not going to move me off of thinking that he's great because he is great. And he was great in this game.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, look, again, I don't know what needs to be said more about the defense. 12 points. I was told by a Dallas talking head that the 49ers defense isn't exactly frauds, but they're not what everybody says they are before the game. And then the Dallas Cowboys go out there and score 12 fucking points. Couldn't be me talking that shit. All week I told you that the 49ers were going to beat the Cowboys, so I get to back all my shit up and talk all I want. I can talk whatever I want at this point. It don't matter if I said they would have scored 30 points. I told you. Dallas ain't like that. Nobody's scared of them. You actually overestimated them because they beat a terrible Bucks team.
Yeah.
You overestimated them. Well, you know what? I get to talk all the shit that I want. And I will turn the page to Philly eventually. I will. I'm going to start looking at them. I'm scared to death of looking at them.
I don't want to. Yeah.
I don't want to look at them either. But I am going to pop my shit. Dallas Cowboys fans, you were here for Friday's Sprint Red Option podcast. MG, some other moron, a bunch of you idiots. Why are you not here now? Why are you not here now? Where are you? Did your internet get cut off? Did your YouTube subscription go away? I am just trying to ask you, again, for the same accountability that I told you I would have. When the 49ers would have, if the 49ers lost this game, I would have had to do my post-game show. And you would have sure pulled up and let me have it. Yeah. But the Cowboys lost. There's no MG. There's no G-ball. There's no this guy. There's no that guy. Pretty sad. Very sad. Yeah. I mean, incredibly sad that you guys can't pull up. And shout out to KHY. This don't apply to you.
We love Kai, yes.
Yeah, that don't apply to you.
Don't apply.
But it's sad that we have to ask grown men to have accountability for the shit that they pop. And you know what? Dallas fans should just be mad at themselves, not the 49ers. Because, yeah, now, Andrew, I'm back in talking shit mode. Dallas fans need to be mad at themselves. Yeah. When the New York Yankees are facing the Houston Astros, I don't sit there and think, oh, my New York Yankees are about to whip their ass in 4 games and just sweep them. I think, man, I'd be really happy if they beat them. I don't think they will. But Dallas Cowboys fans kind of told themselves, not only are we going to beat them, I know we're going to beat them. Yeah. So you know who I blame? I blame you. Yeah. And that's why Jerry Jones after the game said it's sickening. It's sickening because you let this happen to yourselves. And you know what? We're an hour 3 into this shit. We passed the analysis, Andrew. I think we got it. The defense is really good. The 49ers did enough on offense. Our coach is better than their coach. But it's time to pop that shit on their fans. You are literally the worst fan base in the history of any sport. Of any sport. Just any sport. Because you pop that shit and then you duck and run. Me, I got to pop that shit and I got to get on here and I got to be on Twitter. I can't delete my Twitter.
We're gonna have the same energy. Maybe I hope we have the same energy about the Eagles, and we'll be here. We'll be here Monday if the Niners win or lose. That's how it's always been.
That's it. I got a job to do.
Yeah.
What y'all did was y'all popped that shit. You lied to yourselves. You listened to Wiz Khalifa's "We Them Boys" in your room 35 times in a row while you waved the flag Monday night after you beat the Tampa Bay Bucks, and you thought that shit was gonna pop off for you.
I didn't expect a Wiz Khalifa reference to that.
Hold up, "We Them Boys." Nah, y'all not. I just wanted to see if y'all them boys.
You would think too, and respectfully to Kai, nobody else. You would think after 27 years of
You would know the drill.
You would know the story. You would know what's going on.
Look,
so
I'm a New York Yankees fan.
yes.
If the New York Yankees are going against the Houston Astros, I hope the New York Yankees will beat the Houston Astros. I don't expect them to.
Yeah.
If I'm the Dallas Cowboys and I'm in the divisional round and I'm a fan, I hope they win the game.
Yes.
But they're not going to. And you did this to yourself. Blame yourself. Blame nobody else. Blame yourself. You lied to yourself. You sat there and you looked in the mirror and you were like, oh, this is our year. You convinced yourself. Blame yourself. Don't blame us because we knew. Y'all not like that. And Dak, look, here's the best part, Cowboys fans. You can't move on from Dak. Not because of the contract, because there's no upgrade. But you know what else?
Yeah, that's the scary thing.
But you know what else? Dak can't do it. He can't do it. He lost to Jimmy Garoppolo and Brock Purdy back-to-back years. It's not that Dak is a bad quarterback, but he's not that guy, pal.
He's not himmy. Yeah, he's not.
He is not that guy, pal. And you know what's the worst part? There's no upgrade. There's no upgrade. It's not Cooper Rush. There's no upgrade. You gotta. You're gonna run it back with Dak. You got to. But that guy's not like that. And you still have to do it. Yeah. So I don't know what the answer is. What the answer might be is maybe stop rooting for the Cowboys. Maybe start to come to grips that they're never going to do it again. Maybe realize that it's about to be 30 years that you haven't been to an NFC championship. Maybe start to realize that the San Francisco 49ers in 12 years have been to 6 NFC championship games.
Yeah.
In 12 years. 6 NFC championship games. And you know what? That feels weird for 49ers fans because we don't even like that number came up and I was like, that can't be true. It's true.
Yep.
It's true. In 12 years, the Niners have been to 6. You haven't been to 1 in 28 years. This is the last time that I'm talking about the Cowboys. We're going to put a button on it. But I just want to make sure that Cowboy fans realize you lied to yourself, blame yourself. You should have known better. And you deserve every single moment of this slander. Andrew Pasquini, I'll pass it to you, man.
Just back to the talk of the Niners defense by Cowboy fans. Just to quote Denny Green, the Niners defense are who we thought they were, and I think Cowboy fans found that out yesterday. That's really all I have. The Niners defense can, and we said it after the Jimmy Garoppolo injury. This defense can take this team to a Super Bowl, and I think we're seeing that, and we saw that yesterday. We love the Niners, Jason. Real quick before we get into 3 stars and get out of here. I do want to dive into the last minute and a half or so of the game because it was special. And it started with the Niners because the Niners made it all possible. Elijah Mitchell running out of bounds with the game on ice, forcing the Niners to give the ball up. Dak Prescott then almost takes a sack in the end zone to end the season. Doesn't quite get down, obviously doesn't fall down. Then Dalton Schultz with just back-to-back very confusing plays. The first of him kind of willingly letting Charvarius Ward push him out of bounds.
Quotes. I'm sorry, the happy quotes.
You know, I know. I'm so happy you love it. Allowing Charvarius Ward to push him out of bounds, ending his forward momentum, going out of bounds backwards, which, important distinction, the clock stays moving.
Yep.
Then the Niners give him a free 30 yards. And he decides to make the most lackadaisical effort I've ever seen by a player down 7 with less than a minute left in a game. Doesn't even bother to get both. I just assumed it was a catch. And when I said, why are they going to replay on that? This is a catch. And to see the replay of him not even bothering to get a second foot down, costing them 30 yards, which sets up a play that vindicates the Indianapolis Colts. Because the Colts did it on a 4th down I think Pat McAfee said a miscommunication.
And they weren't supposed to snap.
They weren't supposed to snap, and they snapped it. Dallas comes out in a formation. I was intrigued, and I love this. This is my football stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Is seeing these unique information. Corey, thank you for the donation. Jason, thank you for the content. Wish I could buy you a beer. Here's 20 bones.
Appreciate you, Corey. Appreciate you, man.
Dallas comes out in a formation. Ezekiel Elliott, they have all their skill players out there with some offensive linemen. Niners call a timeout to be like, okay, like if they come out in this, what we're going to do is we're just going to blitz two guys because like one guy can't block two, and just keep everything in front of you. They come out in the formation again, all the skill players, excluding okay, my first question here is, why the hell is an offensive lineman not under center? Just in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you have them all on the outside, which I get. I understand what you're setting up to do. Second, great snap by Ezekiel Elliott. That play could have that play absolutely could have ended in a bad snap. So I give him credit for that. Not only did Ezekiel Elliott get blown up on the play, T.Y.
I'm gonna leave this one up.
Gets absolutely blown up as well on the play to end the Cowboys season. I kind of want to know what they were trying to aim for. I'm assuming what they did is they were trying to throw it in the middle to kick it to the outside. Yeah. Actually, no, it wasn't Hilton who made the catch. Hilton was on the sideline.
It was Turpin.
It was Turpin. Hilton's on the sideline with a convoy in front of him. The play just kind of stops and ends with one offensive lineman and two Niners defensive linemen on the ball. And that's kind of where the play dies.
This was, and I'm sure somebody's made this, before. This was the impractical jokers. Now line up Zeke and then snap it and then throw it just to end the game. Like if anybody's seen Impractical Jokers, then you know exactly what I mean. Impractical Jokers is a show where it's a bunch of guys from Staten Island. They send one guy in and they tell him what to do, during the show. Almost felt in that same exact way. The funniest shit about this, Andrew Pasquini, is
there's a lot.
Gotta have it play. They practiced this in practice. They said, if we're ever our backs against the wall, this is what we have to do. And that's what they came up with. It's almost like the quarterback sneak would have been more conducive to a play that would have been positive because you let Aziz fall. Like you let Zeke get fucking destroyed and then you just let Aziz fall on him. And now you've got a free run and then you get a guy behind him. You let Turpin run behind him and you flip it and then you start to, run the carousel. But I think that play just speaks to how unserious the Dallas Cowboys are about actually winning games, how unserious they are about like having real plays that matter, how much Mike McCarthy is not a good coach, how Kellen Moore is not, a good coach. If I was Jerry Jones, I would fire everybody and I would start to ask the New Orleans Saints, what do you want for Sean Payton?
Yeah,
at this point. And I think that's almost a glove in hand fit. And I've been saying it all season. So these were my words. And anybody who's watched, me and Brad, me and Andrew, whatever, when the Dallas Cowboys get eliminated from the playoffs, as they will fire Mike McCarthy and they will send the farm for Sean Payton. I think at this point, that is certainly on the table now at this point, which is why Sean Payton's in no rush to take any sort of job. If I was Sean Payton, though, in my opinion, I would just go and take that Chargers job and run.
Yeah.
Like, get rid of Staley, give me Justin Herbert. But it just goes to show how unserious Dallas is, man. They're just unserious. They're not a real team. They're not a team that anybody should be taking serious. And I'm gonna still dance on their grave. I don't give a fuck, Andrew. I really don't. Like at this point, like we're trying to be nice. We're trying to do an analysis. And I'm sorry for anybody that's listening in the car with their family who listens to us audio. We should probably label this one not safe for work. Those type of things, whatever it is. But this just highlights how many bozos are in the Cowboys front office and how many are on the coaching staff. What on earth were you doing at this point? Seriously.
Kellen Moore feels like he's getting that Byron Leftwich category of a few years ago. Everybody was talking about him, how he was ready for a head coaching job. And now it feels like he's closer to being fired than anything else.
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't know. All right, here's the thing. It's part coaching. It's part Dak.
Mm-hmm.
It's part their owner. I don't know what you do at this point. I don't know what you do at this point. The owner's not going anywhere and the quarterback's not going anywhere. So what's the logical explanation here? Who do you move off of?
Yeah.
Mike McCarthy and Kellen and Moore, you're out of here.
Mm-hmm.
It should be Sean Payton. Like, if you literally, the script is written, Bill Parcells, Sean Payton guy, prodigal son comes home, gets to take over a team that is immensely talented. I don't want to hear this shit. I know we're making fun of them. They still have talent.
They're a good team.
Yeah. Like, we're just
legally obligated to say they suck. We're Niner fans.
Yeah. Niner Boss Talk says they're an incompetent organization. Truly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. 100%. And Jerry Jones saying it's sickening. You're the one who paid Dak and Zeke. You. And I don't blame you for paying Dak. Dak was fine. This was the first year that you really saw like all these turnovers happen. It's not like he's just this turnover happy guy. It just happened this year. But you overpaid a running back. What are you doing? Yeah. Why? Why would you do that? They have a lot of talent. They have things going for them. But they're never going to get out from under this until Jerry Jones sells the team. Almost like the New York Knicks. It's got to be Dolan. You got to get out. Got to get out. Once you get out, everything will be fine. Promise you.
Jason, we've been going for an hour and 15. We still have 220 people here. We love each and every one of you.
Thank you guys.
It's time. 3 stars. Yep. And
do it.
I'm gonna hit a Simpsons meme.
Jason,
say the thing. I want you to start with your 3rd star, and there is one name.
Yeah.
One name I'm looking for, Jason Aponte.
Yep.
I don't care where he is.
Yep.
You better put him on the list somewhere.
He's on the list.
I'm going to be upset. Jason Aponte, who is your 3rd star?
3rd star, Robbie Gold. Thank you, buddy. Yeah. I appreciate you. You, buddy. And hold on. Niner Boss, thank you for the donations. Sean Payton will go to Dallas only if he gets part ownership. This Keith, by the way, my new channel. Appreciate you, Keith. Niner Boss Talk, appreciate you. And if that's the case, I'm sure that Dallas has to find a way to get into the like the actual like playoffs, like the NFC Championship, the Super Bowl. So I don't think that would be too much of an issue. But if I know Jerry Jones, he's gonna throw it all at him. But it's Robbie Gold time. Look, man, you're literally watching a guy on the other side where you don't know if he's gonna make the kick. And here comes Robbie Gold, who has never missed a kick in the postseason, never missed an extra point, nothing like that. Robbie Gold, thank you, buddy. In a game where the 49ers scored 19 points, most of them come off of your leg. Maybe, I'll be damned, maybe kickers do matter. But yes, Robbie Gold, man. I mean,
standing ovation for Jason Aponte.
Maybe kickers do matter. I'll be damned. But yeah, when you think about how many points were scored off of the leg, I mean, the 49ers scored 1 touchdown in this game.
Yeah.
1?
Yes. 1.
So that's 7 points, 12 points off of the leg of Robbie Gold from various areas in the field. Shout out to Robbie Gold. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. And I also want to remind you guys, my kickers don't matter agenda does not apply to Robbie Gold because I want him to make every single kick that he has ever.
So Jason, first of all, 13 points.
13 points. Sorry, 13 points.
Touchdown.
Only 21 likes. What are we doing here, guys? If you're in here and you're enjoying me talk about Robbie Gold, just press that like button.
I see 94.
Oh, all right.
Jason, you didn't even mention it. The tackle.
Oh, my God.
I'm deeming it the tackle. My 3rd star is Robert Gold as well.
Nice.
Obviously, 4 for 4. You mentioned everything about the kicking. The tackle. And that's what, from this point on, if you hear me say the tackle, I am referring to Robert Gold and his special teams tackle.
Robert
Gold. He's Robert now. He accidentally makes a tackle that prevents a touchdown. Dallas goes down and kicks a field goal. Niners still win the game. 4 for 4 on field goals in a week where everybody's talking about kicking because of Brett Mayer, who, by the way, grossly missed his PAT attempt.
Oh, yeah. That's the reason that Ebukam blocked it.
Ebukam blocked it. That's the only reason he didn't miss it. That ball would have landed in San Francisco. It would have landed at Candlestick Park had it gone through.
Mhm.
Got blocked. So many who doing Brett Mayer's PR for him. We love it. But yeah, Robert Gold, my third star for everything Jason said and the tackle. I think we might agree from this point on. So let's feel ourselves here a little bit.
Yes,
Your number 2 star in 3, 2, 1. George
Kittle.
George Kittle. We mentioned it, 5 receptions, 95 yards, made the biggest play of the game, the juggling catch through the middle of the field. Niners go down and score their lone touchdown of the game. He's that guy, pal. I'll let you expound on what you want to say now, since we both have the same guy.
Yeah, he's that guy, pal. I mean, look, George Travis Kelce set the record for catches in a postseason game, and I would argue those were very impactful, but I would argue that George Kittle made a play that literally won his team the game and swung the game in an entirely different direction. So both are great. We're going to debate this. We're just we're living in the age of amazing tight ends, but George Kittle, it could be anybody, any week. It could be Deebo Samuel, it could be Brandon Ayuk, it could be Christian McCaffrey, it could be George Kittle. It was just George Kittle this week, man. Without him, this offense wouldn't have been able to score their touchdown, not only because of the catch that he made, but blocking the way that he did down the stretch and finishing this game off and helping the running game, man. George Kittle is that guy, pal. And Rob
honorable mention, says, thank you, Rob, for the donation. Trent Williams pitched a shutout against
Sure did.
He's an honorable mention.
All 22. What I want you to do is this. I want you to pull up the all 22, and I want you to watch Trent Williams against Micah Parsons and get your popcorn ready, because you are going to watch a masterclass in footwork and handwork. That man is the best in the world, the best left tackle who's ever played, and he plays for the San Francisco 49ers. So, Trent Williams, you're not getting a star. Just know you're a star in my heart.
Honorable mention for sure. Jason Aponte, who's your number 1 star? 3, 2, 1. Fred Warner.
Frederico Warner.
Go ahead, Jason. I'll let you take it.
Too easy, man. Just too easy. I mean, when you look at the way that this defense is played, and in every single big game, it always seems to be Fred on the defensive side. When you ask him to carry receivers, not only just a receiver, not a slot receiver, your number 1 receiver up the field, I don't understand what more you need to see. I don't understand what anybody needs to see. I don't understand why there's people that could literally sit there and argue with someone else, being the best in the world. Fred Warner is the best in the world, man. And again, the 49ers have like 3-4 guys that are the best in the world at their position. And 2 more wins and your coach is the best in the world. So like, we're starting to get into a spot where the 49ers are going to be spoiled. Starting to feel like, I guess the Golden State Warriors for a while. But right now, I mean, Fred Warner, man, I don't know what else to say, man.
Vishal makes a good point here. I didn't even think about this until he said something. Micah Parsons, 34 snaps on the left side of the Niners offense, 23 against the right side. MG told us he was going to play safety or some shit like that. I don't know, man.
I was told he plays safety, defensive coordinator, linebacker, edge, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, owner, and referee. So I was told Micah Parsons was going to be everywhere in this game because he lines up everywhere. Fucking idiot. Keep going.
Jason. Well, I'm about ready to put a cap on the Niner game here. We're obviously going to be back Friday to talk NFC Championship game. Niners, Eagles. I'm not excited for it. I'm excited for it.
I'm excited. I'm excited. But not, yeah.
I guess the best way to work. I'm excited. I just don't know. I'm a fan, so I can say this. Niners probably shouldn't. Players shouldn't say this. I personally did not want this smoke. And that's all I'll say.
Let's go, my boy. Forget the win. Congrats on the SEX, man. Good for you, buddy. That's all I care about.
And yes, I kept my by getting some buns, same as like. Congrats on the sex, man.
Yeah, man. Congrats on the sex, man. Forget the Niners win. I think you already won before that.
Jason, last thing. We made a lot of predictions over the weekend. Your best one. I went back and listened. Wanted to make sure. You said Manchester City 3, Wolves 1. The final score was 3-0. Erling Haaland had a hat trick. Just absolute. Wolves stood 0 chance. I woke up at 6 and I was grumpy.
Wow.
Week off for Prem.
It turns out Jason Aponte doesn't know American football. Jason Aponte knows football.
Listen, if the Niners podcast ever falls through, if we just go Prem League pod, ooh.
Wow.
Think about it.
Jan, if you're trying to get banned,
that's wrong.
If you're trying to get banned, If this is the way you're
Wrong.
trying to get banned, I don't want our fake relationship
Wrong.
online to get broken up here. This is not the take.
Superman is not better than Batman. Get out of here.
No.
Out of here.
No.
Axel, I'm not going to mention that game today out of respect for friends. Not going to talk about the Arsenal United game. Paul coming for the Prem Pod.
Here's the question.
Yes.
Who's going to be in Philly? And are we pulling up in any Bang Bang Niner gang parties this weekend? That's what I need. That's what I need to find out.
And up. Who are we? The 49ers. It doesn't work as well as Commanders.
It does not work. I mean, that's probably the best
Dog,
of
Bang
all the
Bang
team
Niner
songs.
gang is so 2019. I'm all about 49ers faithful at this point, dog.
Oh, my goodness, man. I'm tired.
Hey, Jason Aponte, as always.
Oh, let's go Niners, man.
Let's go Niners. We'll see you guys on Friday. Love you guys.
Yep. Welcome, everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners.